Hello, I'm Boas Verde Schumann. I'm here in Budapest for the International Conference on the Metaphysics and Theology of the Eucharist, and I'm joined here by Noah HAHN. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
So we're at the end of the conference, and we're now in a good position to give our general opinions about the theme and interrelations and things that came out for us. What do you think for you is an especially salient point, or what are you going to be thinking about on the plane home?
Well, I'm definitely going to think about a number of the different papers. I think the most salient one for me was Joss Hochschild's paper on the necessity of transubstantiation for the articulation of what he would take to be the correct formulation of the doctrine. Mm-hmm. The relationship of language to the world, which came out in the paper about Occam and Occam's view of the relationship to language.
Oh, is this Milo Creamy's one about supposition?
Well, that one too.
Okay.
Actually, that was another fascinating one because I just know nothing about that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about these briefly for a minute. I think that one of the things that came out for me with Josh's paper too is that the direction when people think about analyzing the Eucharist in Aristotelian terms, the idea is that the Eucharist is being forced into an Aristotelian box. And I think that what I understand from his talk, and I've come to really appreciate it runs in the opposite direction. It's using Aristotelian tools to open this thing, which is the Eucharist. And I thought that was really, that really set me straight. And Milo's was, characteristically brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And basically the problem, for those of you who weren't able to see it, is like when the priest says, "This is my body," there are two terms especially, this and my, which it's not really clear what they refer to. And certainly the my, when the priest says this is my body, he's not saying that this is his in the sense of the priest's body. Very difficult semantic problem. But all these things are interwoven. It's very interesting and much more generally applicable, as you've highlighted.
Yeah, I think I have been thinking of the Normore paper, where he likened Occam's theory to a picture theory. I'm gonna work with that for a long time. As far as the Aristotelian box thing, Aquinas' communion hymn comes to mind, where he says that Christ came, and then he says, "Et in mundo conversatus sparso verbo semine." So the seeds of the word had already gone out into the world, mm-hmm. Maybe to Aristotle. And then the church recognized, here's this granule of truth, which is fitting and is a correct way, and the correct way to articulate it. Mm-hmm. Not everyone at the conference would agree, but that's part of the wonderful inclusivity of particulars.
Yeah, interesting. So I would have thought of the semina as probably a reference to the Old Testament, but you're right. In as much as Aristotle's following the light of natural reason, I'm just stealing this. I'm plagiarizing from Justin Martyr. In as far as he's following the Logos, he is in effect following the path to Christianity. So you can see how these things should be very much congruent. That's a really good point, actually. Thanks for that.
Well, it's
carry on. Yeah.
Hymnody is the living voice of the church. But I think the I really appreciated Calvin Normer's point about Wycliffe too. That brought in another whole tradition. And I think going forward, that's something to think about. What directions are we going to expand? What are we all going to try to learn more about? Mm-hmm. I know I'm going to send emails to like 5 different presenters because I need their stuff so much.
Well, in some cases I already have.
Yeah, the connections that have been able to be made are just indispensable.
Well, that's another thing too. And one of the other great things, and we've touched on this, you and I, and I think everyone's saying it, is there's just meeting offline, because instead of there's no screen between us. And if you want to go, we can go over to the bar and have a beer and talk about these things as long as we want to. And that's really a special thing, and it's something I've developed a very deep gratitude for, after all this time of the pandemic. And nice to meet you, Noah. Nice to see you.
You too. We'll see you next time.
I'll see you soon.